Hello, my name is Hristov. I am professor of dairy nutrition at Penn State University. My title of the talk I gave at the Beef Methane Conference was Mitigation Practices for Livestock, and I also talked a little bit about inventories. So here are the main points of my talk. First, I think we need a reconciliation between what is called top-down and bottom-up estimates for methane emissions. These come from different sources and they have to be reconciliated. We have to pay attention to methane measurement techniques because results can vary grossly between different techniques and they can overestimate or underestimate emissions. There are a lot of guidelines and publications at this point that can benefit people working in this area. We need to have a more accurate manure estimates, particularly for some production systems like dairy lagoons. We also have to consider emissions throughout the whole production system. So through the animal, into manure, and then manure going on soil. Generally speaking, about the mitigation practices, there is a lot of techniques available on the feeding side and on the animal management side. Some of these mitigation practices may be difficult to implement. One of the main points I would like to make is that any mitigation practice has to be confirmed in long-term animal trials because there is a lot of variability due to experimental design. One of the most beneficial mitigation practices is to increase, for example, forage digestibility, forage quality, silage quality, and this way emission intensity can be reduced by increasing animal productivity, although digestibility and total methane emissions may be increased. There are techniques related to manipulating the rumen microbiome or the animal genome. These techniques are long-term and they are not available at this point. Finally, I would just point out that there is an inhibitor that has been shown to be very potent. 3-nitrooxypropanol has been tested in dairy cattle, in beef cattle, and it has shown a consistent, persistent effect for over 12 weeks, 100 days, up to 30, and in some cases even over 30% mitigation. So once approved, that probably will be a viable feeding related practice for mitigating enteric methane emissions. And I will conclude that again, we have to consider all the interactions between mitigation practices. Those that are related to enteric emissions, but at the same time practices related to manure emissions and how one emission can transfer from one site to another or on soil. So this swapping of emissions shouldn't occur on the farm.